Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Kerin, and today's question is, why is my offer not being accepted, and what can I do to make my offer better? Well, I did this before, and I got a lot of emails from people thanking me and seeing if I can do this again, so I'm doing it again, and especially for you guys, asking, how come I cannot get a house? Now, what I'm going to tell you is not 100% going to get you a house. It's going to give you leverage, right? Or help you understand how to get a better offer over to the seller and why your offer might not be accepted. In the last 2 weeks, and I'm not even exaggerating, I got tons of listings. I'm selling lots of properties. In the last 2 weeks, maybe 350 offers I had to go through, right? So I'm going through 350 offers, and I'm going to give you my advice, and I'm going through every single one of them, and some things you don't realize. I'm going to start, before I even go this, let me start off by saying something. You have to understand this is for you buyers, and this is for you agents. I can tell you more than 30%, at least 30% of the contracts that are coming over are not even filled out correctly. So buyers, you might not even realize. So I'm going to teach you how, to what to look for. And agents, how can you be presenting contracts if you don't even know how to fill them out correctly? So right off the bat, you as the buyer didn't even get the house because it's filled out incorrectly. So 30% right there, boop, out the door, not even filled out correctly. So know who you're hiring, please do your due diligence. It's extremely important, especially in this market. So first and foremost, price, right? So in this market, there's no exceptions to getting a low offer, even if $1,000. I've seen people, the house is $300,000 and someone offers $299. It's like, why are you even trying to play games? This is not the market for it. This is a crazy market. It's an upside down market. This is a market where if you're in a rental, it kind of makes more sense to keep renting. And I'll do that in another video if you ever want me to explain that. By saving the down payment, the appraisal contingency, that's another one I'll show you that you might be better off renting for a little while. But whatever the price is, you gotta go higher, right? If you love the house, especially anything under 300,000. You have to remember that a lot of these houses that came on the market years ago at 150 or 160, which was the low end, they're now 235, 240, 250 up. So the cheap houses then, which were affordable at 150, are now 250. So anything under 300,000, especially under 250, is going. So if there's something at 249, you can't assume that a full price offer is good. And that's crazy for me to say, right? So full price is not going to get you in this market. And it's sick to say that, right? Anything under full price, the seller's not looking at it. Full price might not even get you there. So this is advice one. Here we go. Your highest and best right away. Don't tell me, because I get people that tell me this too. Oh, I would have went higher. Oh, my buyer could have went higher. Well, why didn't you just do it in the first place? I'm not going back and forth. I have 75 offers on one house. You think I'm going to call every single person and go, hey, what's your highest and best? If this is your highest and best, make it your highest and best. Highest and best. Highest and best. Highest and best. This one right here, it should say loan/cash. This is the problem, a problem one we're having right now, right? So let me get my blue marker, right? Loan/cash. If somebody comes in with, look, I don't really care, honestly, if you have a loan or cash. I really don't in most cases. At the end of the day, it's almost all the same. Yes, there's different things with contingencies. But the problem is, if you make the most amazing offer and you're alone and somebody else comes in and is cash is usually always going to win, right? Because cash is no appraisal, no mortgage contingency. Usually it's a higher escrow, which we're going to go over next. It's a higher escrow. So after the inspections are completed and the buyer decides to move forward, those escrows are non-negotiable anymore. They're non-refundable. They go to the seller at that, right? So the cash offers really only have the inspection time frame to do their due diligence, and that's it, right? So cash to me is killing it right now. Now, what a lot of agents have to understand, if you're a listing agent out there, there's a lot of investment companies and they're offering cash, but they have a lot of loopholes. You can't just go after these cash investors and give them the house. Their loopholes are, it has to be rentable. So if the equation on that HOA is off, they can back out at any time they want. So they're going to take business days to do their inspections, get the nickel and dime their sellers. So when you have a buyer out there that has a loan, they might be better, right? If you didn't follow that, email me. So This is the problem we're having with one. Let's say there's no cash offers. This is a big problem we're having right now. You're an FHA buyer. Right off the bat, you're looked at as under a conventional. I don't like that at all. FHA is a phenomenal. It's fine. FHA, VA, conventional. They're all pros and cons for their own thing, right? Everything has a pro and a con. You say conventional. What's the con of conventional? Well, the con of conventional would be maybe there was a higher down payment. Yeah, you can get 3% now, but maybe there was a higher down payment where FHA used to be a lower down payment, right? Or conventional, maybe the rate was a little higher than FHA and you can get a better rate at FHA. VAs are phenomenal. VAs 0% down. It helps our military and veterans. This is where I get really irritated. If you come in FHA, it doesn't mean that you're not as good as conventional. If you come in VA, it does not mean that your house won't appraise, because VA appraisals always come in low. And this is the problem we have in this market. It's uneducated people, whether it's sellers or agents, that don't understand that just because they see FHA, they're like, I don't want to take it. Or VA, oh, the appraisal is going to come in low. That's such baloney and cheese, and it drives me freaking crazy, right? This buyer, let me tell you something real quick. VA. Do you know that VA is the only loan that you can get? If the appraisal comes in low, they give you a heads up. A lot of people don't know that. It's not going to just come in low. Like this house right here is $100,000. But conventional and FHA are going to give it to you. But VA is saying, no, it's only worth 80. That's so not true. But if the house isn't worth it, VA will come in and say, hey, I'm going to give you a quick heads up. I'm not going to be able to get you that number. So I'll give you a couple days to come up with comps for me. VA's, it's a great loan. FHA, little 3.5% down. Sometimes better interest rates, better for a first-time buyer. Some people have amazing credit and debt to income, and they still go FHA. There's pros and cons to everything. You can't look at the loan and just assume that person's a risk. But this is where escrow also comes in. Okay, this is what you see a lot of times, and this is on your agent. You'll see an FHA buyer come in and then put $1,000 in escrow. So what you're telling me is that you don't have the money to buy the house. If the house is $300,000, why are you putting $1,000 in escrow? You have to remember that different states have different ways of business. So in other states, escrow is a big deal. So if that seller that's down here was born and raised up north, and they see that you're only doing $1,000 in escrow, they're like, this person's not serious. Where the cash offer might put $5,000 or $10,000. The conventional might put $3,000 or $4,000. So it's not even just a loan. It's now you're putting $1,000 in escrow. So all you agents out there that are listening to this, why are you putting $1,000 on the escrow line? You're saying, Kerin, but it's refundable. It doesn't matter. I'm going to explain something to you guys. When you buy a house, you have the right to do inspections. You have the right to back out for your soulful decision as a buyer, right? If you're scared of the money, put a higher escrow amount in there. And if you get the house in contract, then figure it out. But if you're going in super low, you're not going to get it anyway. You're not even going to get to the inspection. So there's a myth that FHA is not that good. There's a myth that VA appraisals come in low. So now you're coming in with this loan that the sellers might think, oh, I don't know, it's too risky. And then you're doing a really low escrow. And then you're like, well, I'm definitely not taking it now. And if you need closing costs, you're out of the game 100%. I always say buy a house with closing costs, right? I'm always an advocate for it too. I won't buy any properties unless I get closing costs. I'm not buying any properties in this market, because you're not getting closing costs. There's no way. There's 70,000 people lined up to buy a house. It's funny. I said this thing the other day. I said a buyer's market is where there's a ton of inventory and there's not a lot of buyers, and they can go around and pick and choose whatever they want. A seller's market is inventory is low and there's, buyers, that are going to left and right, and they can pick and choose. This market is, you want the house, you don't want the house, I don't give a hoot. I have 5,000 other people that do, and they're going to overpay and nonsense. This isn't even a seller's market. This is like the craziest thing we've seen. Okay. Next, inspection. Inspection time frames. This is another one agents are doing that are blowing my mind. If you write up a contract and leave this part blank, it gives the buyer 15 days that you, the seller, have to pull your house off the market and let that buyer do their inspections. Now remember, inspections can be anything. I don't like the traffic. I don't like the neighborhood. I found a better house. Why the heck would any seller pull their house off the market for 15 days in this market? You're crazy. I'm taking offers 4 days, 3 days. Now, I'm not saying don't do an inspection. Of course, I'm all about, I mean, there are people that are saying we won't do an inspection. I think that's nuts. You got to do an inspection. You never know what's going on with the house, please. But 15 days. So I have agents calling me up. How come I didn't get the offer? I go, why did you leave that blank? Do you think that for a second we're going to look at your house and say, yeah, we're going to pull our house off for 15 days? Well, I would have done better. Or I didn't know about that. Well, hey, buyer, you hired that agent who doesn't understand this contract. That's not my fault. So you need to make this as low as you possibly can. And here's how you do it. You're going to call an inspector. You're going to start a relationship with them. And you're going to say, hey, I'm making offers on homes. When do you have free time? Oh, Friday? Cool. It's Tuesday. So that means I have 3 days? Great. 3-day inspection time frame. I already got my guy on phone call. He set me up in a time. That's how we do it. Just to let you guys know, we have like 20 houses already sold or something. God knows how many in contract. We know what we're doing. We're good at what we do, and we're giving you really good advice. Take my advice. Get with an inspector. Tell him that you're making offers. So then when you're in, because this is important, yes, but this is really important. Imagine you have two offers the same price. One's asking for 15 days, the other one's asking for 3 days. 3 days all day long. It's 3 days, boom, boom, bing, bang, you know? You're not taking the house off the market for this long. Now, this is the different one right now that's going crazy. I put it a little low, right? Sorry. The appraisal. This, to me, is nuts. I don't advise anyone to do it unless the house of your dreams. And this is where I'm saying sometimes it's better to rent. So this is what's happening right now. And I'm going to explain 2 things to you. And you have to listen because I'm going to give you guys some really good advice. When you buy a house, let's say it's $100,000, right? Let's do this. It's $100,000, okay? We'll just do it right here, $100,000. Let's say it appraises for $90,000. You don't have to buy the house, right? You don't have to buy it. Now, if you want it, you're going to have to come up with the difference in this market. But the sellers are asking like 120. So what's happening is they're saying, I want my 120 no matter what, even if it appraises this low. So what's happening is some buyers are coming in and they're saying, I'll waive the appraisal contingency. But what that means is that if it appraises low, they can't walk away. The seller can still sell it to you. I'm not looking for that. And this is what's crazy, and I'm going to blow your mind here. 2 things, remember. Waiving the appraisal contingency only means if it appraises lower, I still have to buy it if the seller wants to sell it to me, right? If the seller's in a stuck situation. So it doesn't give me the loophole to walk away from the house. I don't care about that. The other thing is, we're seeing is, okay, the house is $100,000. I'm going to offer you $110,000, and I'm going to come up with $10,000 if it doesn't appraise. Right here. And let me explain this, the equivalence to you on this. When you see people, especially during Christmas time, when they were putting PlayStation on all these different pages on Facebook, and they were trying to sell it for like $1,000 and it was worth like $200. Everybody was ripping these people apart. You're crazy. You're disgusting. You're greedy. You're this. How can you do it? Yeah, I get it. But you know why? Because 999 people were saying, you're greedy, you're disgusting. And one was saying, here's the money. Because that's how supply and demand works. And people will play the market the right way when it comes to them making money, right? So they're playing the supply and demand market. They're saying, you can say whatever the heck you want. You can make fun of me. You can say I'm greedy, but I'm going to get my money. And that's what that is exactly what's happening in this market. And it's becoming the norm. Your house is $100,000 on the market. I'm going to give you $110,000. And if it doesn't appraise, I'll pay the difference. The appraisal contingency just says, if it doesn't appraise, I'll still buy it. I don't care about that. Anybody's still going to buy it. These are the things that your agents don't get. You have to realize, if you're not willing to pay the difference, I get it. I'm not willing to pay the difference. I think that's crazy. You're already putting yourself underwater. But if you have to, and it's a house of your dreams, or you're living in a freaking hotel and you got to do what you got to do, I get it. But by putting the appraisal contingency, meaning you're going to buy it if it doesn't appraise, but you're not coming out of pocket, I could care less. This is what's getting people homes right here. They're going in full price or above. I mean, they're going above full price, not full price. They're waiving the appraisal, saying I'll pay the difference up to XYZ. They're bringing their inspection low. They're giving at least 1% of the purchase price, if not more. And this one right here, if it's not cash, they're coming in conventional again. I don't really care too much about this, but if you're not getting a house, this might be a big reason too. If it's cash, it is what it is. If you have any questions and you want to know anything, please let me know. Look, guys, last year we sold over 160 homes. We know what we're doing. We're extremely educated in this business. I'm here right now helping you, and I'm helping other agents. I mean, whatever you need for me to guide you in the right direction, let me know. Please understand, like I said, 30% of the contracts or more were filled out wrong. I mean, if you're not getting a house because your contract isn't filled out right, I'm sorry. I know everyone's a realtor right now, but make sure you get someone that knows what they're doing. Look over the contract. I'm Kerin. Happy Friday. Happy Good Friday. Happy weekend. Happy Easter. Happy everything to everyone. If you have any questions, please call me. I hope this video educated you more. Talk to you soon.